Danger might await you anywhere. Scammers are getting more sophisticated in their attempts to get closer to you and use their skills to scam you. They use strange things like envelopes in the car and other weird stuff on the hood to target everyone, regardless of their age and background. Let's see how you can recognize the red flags and know what to do. It's late evening. You park your car in the supermarket lot, lock it, and go shopping. When you return, you see someone has wrapped a shirt around one of your windshield wipers. Don't pause to get the piece of clothing off your windshield if this really happens to you. Instead, get into your car as quickly as possible and drive away. Find a well-lit spot, preferably with other people around, and only then stop and toss the shirt out. It's a relatively new trick criminals use to distract lonely drivers' attention. The shirt or other sizable piece of cloth makes you stop and pull it off. While you're doing this, they can sneak up on you, and who knows what happens then. If you have shopping bags on you, it's best not to open your trunk either, as it also makes you vulnerable to prowlers and prevents you from acting fast. Toss the bags into the car and sort them out later when you're safe. What might be sending even more shivers down your spine is finding an envelope inside your car when you return to it. You definitely locked it, so someone was able to break in. First of all, remember basic security and drive off immediately. Then, best toss the envelope without opening it. There might be something nasty inside for all you know. But suppose your curiosity took the upper hand and you still opened it. In that case, you might find a message inside that says something like, "Here, sir, madam, we've tested your car's security and found it unsatisfactory. As you can see, your car can easily be broken into. We expect you to pay us for this test, and in return, we'll make sure to send someone to help you install a better security system." Well, it's good they've taken nothing, so toss the envelope away and disregard the message. If you pay scammers, they're likely to do it again, or even try something worse. The best you can do is go to a trusted car service and check your security system on your own, or even replace the one you have if you're not sure of its capabilities anymore. A water bottle on your car's hood is a sign you're in grave danger. Like a clothing item on your windshield wipers, it's meant to distract you and make you get out of the car, but this case is even worse. Even if you don't go out to remove the bottle or any other relatively large and distracting object and drive home immediately, you might be up for something terrible. People who put the bottle on your car's hood might have installed a GPS tracker on your car, so driving home puts you at risk of them following you there. You should either find a safe spot with many people around and check your car for the tracker, or go straight to the nearest police station and ask them to do it for you. When a stranger asks you to take a picture of them and gives you a phone, don't be too quick to take it. Look at them first. If they look suspicious or unfriendly, it's better to refuse the request nicely. This might be a fraud. They give you the phone, you turn on the camera and see that it's broken. The image in the photo is damaged. You give the stranger their phone back and they accuse you of breaking the phone. They demand money and start making a scene. In such a situation, it's better not to panic and not to be provoked. Calmly leave. Make it clear that you won't fall for this. And if they behave too aggressively, then call the police. Thieves can put an advertising flyer, a newspaper, or a sticker on your house or apartment door. You can find a piece of paper or a thin strip from a plastic bottle in the doorway. If you don't remove one of these items for a long time, then the thieves understand that you're not at home. This way, thieves mark buildings and apartments that are easy to get into. After all, getting into an empty apartment is much safer. So, as soon as you see a foreign object, immediately get rid of it. If a flyer or bookmark hangs on the door for 1 or 2 days, it tells the thief that no one's home. Of course, these can be real advertising stickers, but you still don't need them. In addition to flyers, there may be strange labels on the house or apartment door, numbers, crosses, or other symbols. It's how burglars mark houses they're about to break into. If you see such a sign, it's better to call the police. You're driving home from work and suddenly notice you're almost out of gas. That's weird, because you recently filled a full tank. You go to the gas station and to the car repair center to check if there is a gas leak in the vehicle. Meanwhile, robbers can take things out of your house. They deliberately drained the fuel from your car so that you'd go to the gas station. They detain you and buy time to clean out your home. If you're sure that you refueled recently and the gas was drained from you, you should call your neighbors and ask them to monitor your house or apartment. Burglars might stage some accident to lure you out of your house. Please don't fall for it. If there is actually some accident, it's always better to call 911. Also, beware of weird calls when someone calls you and keeps silent. If they started bothering you quite often, it could be a sign that your house is now a burglar's target and they want to check if you're home. Always make sure that the taxi meter is working when you get into a cab. If you take a seat and the driver tells you the meter is broken, you'd better get out at once and call another car. You could get charged much more than the regular fee without the meter, especially if you're not a local. Your car's broken down in the middle of an interstate, so you call a towing service. But in less than 5 minutes, a tow truck stops by and the driver offers you help. It's best to reject the offer politely. Granted, you'll have to wait longer, but at least you won't be overcharged. There are towing companies that take advantage of unfortunate drivers stranded in the middle of nowhere. This kind stranger might take your car prisoner until you pay double the regular charge. If you're not sure the tow truck that's arrived at your help is the one you called for, call the service again and ask for the number on the license plate. When you choose a parking spot, it's best to avoid those next to larger vehicles than yours. They block your line of sight, and you can quickly become the target for someone with bad intentions hiding behind the van or truck next to your car. When someone calls you and says they're representing your bank, be aware that bank employees will never ask you for your account information, including your PIN or a one-time code sent to your phone. If someone asks you for that, best hang up and call the bank on your own. Just use the number on its website. Paying with your bank card or through the e-wallet via a trusted service is the only safe way to pay online. If a company asks you specifically to pay in an unusual way, such as a gift card, a voucher, or a transfer to another bank card through your online banking app, mark it as a huge red flag for scammers. A real company wouldn't make you do that, and they'll also provide you with an electronic check afterward.
That's it for today. So hey, if you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want more, just click on these videos and stay on the bright side.
You open up your mailbox and see a dryer sheet. It's got no purpose in there, so you take it out, right? Wrong. Leave it there. You'll be doing your mail carrier a big favor. Here's why. You might think dogs are the only creatures that cause problems to mail workers when they're out delivering your mail. And with good reason. More than 5,800 United States postal workers had unpleasant run-ins with dogs in 2020. But they aren't the only inconvenience for mail carriers who are just trying to get home safe. Mail workers often leave these dryer sheets in mailboxes to protect themselves against wasps. That might sound bizarre, but even the average person can expect to be stung by a wasp around 5 times in their life. And it's a much more likely occurrence than getting bitten by a dog. Why does the dryer sheet keep wasps away? Well, it's pretty simple, really. Wasps can't handle its smell. It's just way too intense for them, so they try to avoid dryer sheets altogether. It does make sense, given that dryer sheets are meant to freshen up our clothes and make them smell nice. One could expect them to have a strong scent. Overall, this is just a minor disturbance in the life of a wasp. Thankfully so, because they don't really have any time for extra worries. On average, wasps have an extremely short lifespan. Most will live no more than 22 days. This, of course, doesn't apply to the queen, that sometimes lives for as long as a full year. But it's still nice that, while the rest are here, they don't have to worry about flying into a dryer sheet everywhere they go. It's funny that the wasps that live for such a short period of time probably relate more to mail carriers. who are trying to avoid them, than their much-worshipped queen. This is because their 22 days of life are all about work. They each have their individual jobs, which ultimately revolve around building a suitable nest to ensure the protection of the queen. In this queen's nest, there are two different types of wasps: drones, which are males, and workers, which are females. The latter, in particular, are extremely diligent creatures. Worker wasps start their lives by helping to feed developing larvae. The larva is an immature insect, fresh out of an egg, which is yet to develop into its grown-up form. This stage of the worker wasp's life typically lasts for 3 to 4 days. After that, they begin to perform tasks that involve leaving the nest, such as collecting water or bringing back wood material, which is what nests are made of. The water they bring back is then spat out by the worker wasps and used to enlarge the entrance. The water mixes with the material that needs to be removed and forms pellets, which are then carried out of the nest. The worker wasp will then go through a period of focusing on building the nest itself before taking on the role of food gatherer. Wasps get energy from nectar or honeydew and protein from insects or animals. Speaking about the selfless nature of these worker wasps, they don't even have the necessary enzymes in their bodies to allow them to eat most of the food they gather. This means that the majority of the food they bring back goes to the undeveloped wasps known as larvae that I mentioned earlier. Thankfully, the worker wasps do get some kind of reward for their diligence. From the food the larvae digest, they can get a creamy substance that looks like soup. This substance contains all the sustenance that the worker wasps need to continue carrying out their duties. This type of food exchange is called trophallaxis feeding. It's a key part of the social contact between the workers and the developing young. On most of the foraging trips, the worker wasps travel up to 1,000 feet away from the nest. But research has shown that some journeys go on for over half a mile. The worker wasps even follow one another to known sources of food. The worker wasps finish their lives back inside the nest, but they don't relax and enjoy retirement. Instead, they take up their final role, which is guarding the entrance to the nest. So, how does the life of a female worker wasp compare with that of a male drone? Well, their male counterparts are actually quite sluggish in comparison, even despite their larger size. The drones are, on average, over half an inch in length, whilst the female worker wasps are usually smaller than half an inch. The drones are also more brightly colored, have long drooping antennas, and don't have the ability to sting. The queen is bigger than both of those and is the closest to being a full inch in length. Why do I suggest the drones are lazier? Well, while the worker wasps are out collecting wood, water, or food, the drones can often be found back at the nest, putting their heads into empty cells with only their tails visible. Doing something to add value? Not really. It's more likely that they're just taking a nap. When they're not catching some shut-eye, they're known to help distribute food to the larvae by going from cell to cell and popping the meals into their open mouths. The drones also try to pull their weight in other ways, which, in a literal sense, wouldn't be hard to do since most drones and workers weigh between 10 and 19 milligrams. Anyway, the drones also carry away and dispose of any rubbish that may gather inside the nest. These nests, where the queen, drones, and workers coexist, typically last between 3 to 4 months. They fall apart in the winter when new queens fly away to hibernate. The rest of the wasps and the nest itself struggle to survive the cold winter conditions, as do the new queens. Research shows that as few as 2 out of every 4,500 queens make it through the hibernation period. This is not just because of the cold weather conditions. The queen wasps find dark and dry locations to hibernate, such as a crack in the wall inside a house. They tuck their antennae neatly between their legs and bite whatever surface is in front of them in order to hang on firmly. This leaves them extremely vulnerable to other insects, such as spiders. But those lucky queens who truly enjoy a nice long slumber during the hibernation period typically resurrect in the spring and begin to build a new nest. The queen will fly up to 47 miles just to find the perfect warm and dry spot. Attics and roofs often fit the bill. The queen will then produce new workers and drones, and the life cycle of wasps will continue. If you do come across a wasp nest, it's best to just leave it alone. You can't always know what kind of reaction you'll have to a sting from the creature. And who says you'll get stung by just one? The average wasp nest can hold up to 10,000 members during the peak of the summer. It's best to leave the nest to pest control services. But what precautions can you take to avoid any unfortunate encounters with wasps in general? We owe thanks to mail carriers for making us aware of dryer sheets. But what else can we do? You can start by not leaving any food lying around. This is the main attractor of wasps, be it foods full of protein, like chicken, or sweets, like ice cream. Make sure you wash your dishes, cover any food you keep for later, and remove all leftovers as soon as you're done feasting. While wasps hate the odor of dryer sheets, things like flowers and fruits greatly please their sense of smell. You should pay attention to any perfumes, lotions, or hair care products that you use. Wasps may mistake them for nectar while out looking for food. You can also be practical about your defensive strategy against wasps. You can use your clothing to your advantage. Wear long sleeves and trousers. Stay away from sandals. You can avoid getting unnecessary attention from any nearby wasp by wearing red clothes, as it's the only color of the rainbow that they can't see. Most importantly, and I know it's easier said than done, so don't get mad at me for saying it, stay calm. Research has shown that waving your hands, panicking, and causing a commotion when a wasp lands nearby actually increases your chances of getting stung. I hope this will help you to protect yourself when you're around wasps. In the meantime, keep helping our great mail workers out and leave those dryer sheets exactly where they are.
If you see this padlock on your car, you might find a note attached with a number for you to call. The number is for a nearby scammer or thief, hoping you'll call so that they will charge you to remove the lock. Once you transfer the money, the scammers will give you information on where to find the key. It's usually not too far away from the car. They know that removing it yourself will cause damage to the paint. The best you can do is call the police immediately. Here are a few tricks up the car thief's evil sleeves they don't want you to be aware of. Older cars are their favorite, with decades of knowledge on how to access them. They understand those vehicles lack any alarms. They use manual window rollers and no tracking devices. The thought of a target as easy to steal as this is enough to cause them to salivate. Cars that are older than 20 years tick the box for all these red flags. Though you might think your car is so old that it's not worth much anyway, the thieves mostly want the parts. The parts in the old cars are worth a lot more than you would think. Supplying the valuable insides to the right buyer ensures they're worth the risk. An easy way to prevent your older car from being stolen is simply applying a steering wheel lock. The sight of that will deter anyone who's acting suspiciously nearby. The thief's unfortunate attraction sometimes isn't towards the car itself, but what's within. Your iPad or other electronic devices clearly visible on the seat would be an easy steal. They're not bothered by quick smashing, grabbing, and running. A few $100s of gear for a couple of seconds of work is a very appealing situation. So make sure you hide your valuables, preferably in one of the many hidden compartments, or lock them up in the trusty glove box. Statistically, 1 out of 6 car owners in safe neighborhoods keep a spare key inside the vehicle. Some owners think this is smart and can help save time in case they leave the primary key in the house. Bad guys stroll through unsuspecting neighborhoods late at night on a regular basis, checking every car just in case they hit that lucrative 6th car. Never be too careful with your keys. Public parking lots are extensive and can stretch over large areas. They're also a goldmine for those lurking quietly on the outer edges, eyeing off the cars furthest from the security cameras. Decent security is generally lacking at those large parking lots, so try to find the best spot closest to the shops. There are ways to park your car to make it problematic to tow or drive away. Park it so the front is facing inwards, ensuring there is an obstacle, like a light or a guardrail there. If you're parking on the street, turn the wheel towards the curb, locking it into place to make it harder to steal in every way. Would you believe those car thieves also have communities of their own? Each thief has their own specialty of a car brand or type. They will trade intel with the other crooks, so if their experience isn't enough to access your car, they will know someone who trades their knowledge for something viable in return. Cars with alarms are a great deterrent from thieves. If your car is a bit outdated, there's no harm in putting a fake sticker on it. The sticker alone is enough to discourage a would-be thief as they briefly scan the assortment at their disposal. Most people are sure that a newer car is safer, with groundbreaking technology to prove it. But ultimately, there are newer, more sophisticated forms of car theft. Keyless systems in cars use a random process through key fobs and smartphones. Using a short-range signal allows for the owner to access their vehicle and start the engine. Relay thieves will use wireless transmitters working as pairs. One will hold their gadget close to the owner, capturing a signal that specifically relates to the digital key. It then relays it to the target vehicle. The accomplice, standing closer to the car, obtains the relay signal, tricking the car into thinking the key is within range. Once the thief is inside the car, the process can be repeated, then easily starting the car. From there, the entire system can be reprogrammed to respond to a new key fob. They can use the same process by just opening the doors and accessing the valuable contents within the car. It ensures the thief can remove what they like without setting off any alarms or smashing any windows. A further form of deceiving these newer models is through their diagnostics. With all that has been fitted into all cars within the last 10 years, copying the same technology and software allows systems to be simply understood and vulnerable. Computer experts easily develop devices that plug into key ports, booting up the vehicle software, and from there can program their own blank key fob. To avoid these new age concerns, keep cautious when leaving the car in a public area. Ensure you hear the locks functioning and inspect from a distance that there's no change with the side view mirrors. When you leave the keys overnight at your residence, wrap them in an aluminum tin or a signal blocking box, ensuring your car can't be hacked while you sleep. Or simply just turn off your fob when you're not using it. As technology continues to progress, applications will continue to develop. They will not only lock and start your car, but will be capable of controlling it. Those progressive technologies will bring along new advanced methods of accessing your car. To counter this, ensure all your software is updated and safeguard your entry code with something better than a password. Bad guys do prefer older vehicles, but keyless car thefts are growing exponentially. Today, most stolen car thefts are keyless. Thieves are quickly developing how to adapt to the new age of vehicles within their reach. Although there are protective measures in place for newer cars, the technology is only for the short term. When purchasing a newer model, always be open to whatever security options are available. Who knows what the future will hold for the safety of your smart car? Consider buying a baby monitor and hiding it in the back seat. It will ensure you have a very affordable surveillance monitoring system ready to alert you of a sudden break-in. Hot wiring older cars is the main form of stealing them, so install an off switch to your car's engine. A professional can install them for you in multiple locations in your car. They will ensure that the power has no way of reaching the ignition of your car and no thieves will be able to drive away with it. Install a removable wheel and take it with you when not using your car. Thieves won't carry around their own spare steering wheel, regardless of how talented they think they are. A wheelless car will make certain thieves will stay clear. A steering lock is also a great option. It completely covers your wheel and functions similarly to the wheel lock for older cars. Extended stays in a parking lot could still be a risk without a steering wheel. A tire lock is a great alternate option. Although it takes a long time to install, it will serve as an excellent way to deter the bad guys, as they won't be able to drive away in your car. Given how fast the criminal must act to get into a car and escape, they don't have the time to search the vehicle for any tracking devices. Although older cars lack this technology, they're easily available to purchase. You can easily hide a GPS tracker, some of them smaller than a phone, inside your car. It will give you and the authorities an advantage when tracking down your beloved ride. In the USA, a car is stolen on average every 36 seconds. The top 10 cars stolen are the Dodge Pickup, Honda CR-V, Toyota Corolla, GMC Pickup, Nissan Altima, Toyota Camry, Honda Accord, Honda Civic, Chevrolet pickup, and the Ford pickup. A $7.4 billion loss was estimated in 2020 due to car thefts. It was the highest amount in 10 years, and it's logical to expect that the number will continue to grow further. Given the range of cars within the thieves' target area, it's clear that all cars are potential targets. Is your car on the list?